YouTubers, welcome to Matthew's Reviews. So I got a video review for you guys today on a couple different fans from a company by the name of Seeker. And it says Seeker by Camfro. And these are two different models here. This one here is the Sirocco 2 and this is the Bora. And what makes these fans special is they run on DC power. So they'll run on 12 volts or 24 volts. Well, you guys see me reviewing different portable power stations, or I'm building portable power stations. And so for me, I'm always looking for something that is more efficient. And so, at nighttime, I like that cold air to be blowing on me. And so I would like to use these products that are mostly made for campers and boats and things like that. I'd like to incorporate some of these products into some of my portable power station build. And if you're a camper or sleeping in a tent or whatever, and you've got a portable power station, you might want to watch this video as well, because this here can help preserve the life of your batteries because it doesn't use much power at all. And I'm going to do some testing here in a minute. It's going to be very interesting, so I think you guys are going to want to watch this video. So I'm going to show you guys the reason why I love DC fans over AC fans. So in the test today, I'm going to be using this new Agritech Sonic 600 portable power station. If you ain't seen the review that I've done on this thing, check it out. This thing is able to power like 1200 watts on a 600 watt power station. It's amazing. We're going to plug in a watt meter into the front of this power station. We'll just turn it over on its side, and then we've got a 120 volt AC fan here. We're going to plug it into the watt meter. We're going to turn it on. Now that's on high. I don't know how well you guys can see it. That thing is rattling pretty bad. But this thing is using 40.5 watts of power. And that's AC power. So that's quite a bit. If you're using it on a portable power station, it'll run it for a few hours, But, if you compare that to a DC fan, how many watts it uses, you're going to be shocked. And this is why I always recommend on a portable power station, always run DC powered products, because watch this. So now I'm going to test the Sirocco 2 fan, and before I get into all of its cool features like being the gimbal design and all that, I'm going to go ahead and turn the unit on. There's low, and I don't know if you can tell how much power it's putting out. It's moving some air. Even though it's on low and it's quiet, that's the thing I like about this versus some of the other DC powered fans, and I'll show you one here in a minute. I'll do some testing on it as well. But if you look over here at the power station, I don't know how well you guys can read that, but it's reading 000. This is using such low wattage that it's not even registering on the power station. And I've got it written here on the bottom of the box. It says that on low, this thing uses 0.1 amp, and that equates to 1.2 watts. Now on high, it uses 0.3 amps, which is 3.6 watts, compared to the AC fan that I showed you before that was using 40 watts. So you do the math on that. How much longer is this one going to last versus that AC powered fan? Plus, it don't tell you, on top of the AC power fan, it doesn't tell you how many watts it's taking to run the power inverter inside the portable power station. Got to keep that in mind. So if the AC is on the portable power station, the inverter is also running. So it's going to take some wattage to run that power inverter. So it's not only using 40 watts. It's probably using 45 or 50 watts, truthfully. So with this here, we're using DC power, and again, it's so low, it's not even picking it up on the power station. So let me go ahead and kick it up. That's speed number 3. There's 3 speeds, and this one's speed number 3 here. And it finally says that it's 3 watts. And like I said, it does say 3.6 watts is what it uses. Pretty amazing. So I'm very, very happy with this fan. I think it's amazing. I think it looks good. And let's say you're using this in a camper, or if you're using this in a boat, or like I said, you could use it in in the back of your vehicle. Let's say you're camping and you got one of those hard campers in the back of it. You could use it in there. You could use it inside your vehicle All you would need to do is just mount it somewhere, inside your vehicle, and mount this, wire it into like a 12-volt cigarette lighter plug. Let's say you're a trucker. I know a lot of the truckers use those clip style 12-volt fans, and they plug it into a cigarette lighter. If you don't like hearing that rumbling and rattling noise, this might be a good alternative to you. And I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about, because I have one right here. So you can see that I've got just a little clamp-on style fan. I picked this up at Walmart the other week on clearance. And, it don't use very much wattage, but, it is kind of noisy. It does spin really fast in order to be able to put out the air. It's only got one speed, so you can't turn it down. So it is a little bit annoying. I wouldn't want to leave it in a tent or something like that where I was trying to sleep, because it'd probably get on my nerves. But we're going to show you how much wattage it uses. At first, it jumped up to 9 watts, and then it uses 6 watts. Compared to the Sirocco 2, it only used 3.6 watts, and it was registering 3 on here. So this uses twice as much power as that other DC fan, and I can tell you it don't move nearly as the amount of air that Sirocco 2 fan uses, and it's not nearly as quiet. Listen to the noise of the motor, but I'll go ahead and tell you, I wouldn't want to listen to this thing for very long. On a hot summer day, yeah, I would probably endure it just because it's nice and cool, but I wouldn't want to try to sleep with that close to my head or pointing in my direction, because it'd drive me crazy. So I showed you guys just how efficient this thing is. So now I want to run through some of the features. And so, like I said before, this product here is made more for a camper or a boat or something like that. But I don't see why you can't adapt it to, just off-grid living and things like that. And so, like I said, I want to use them on a power station. So one thing, for me is that I like about this is, number one, it has a sleep timer on it. So this here at the top is the timer button, and you'll know that because it's got a little clock there. And so you can see that the fan is already turned on. So when I hit the timer button one time, you can see that this little blue light lights up right in there. So that's 3 hours. Hit it again, that's 6 hours, and it moves up to the second mark. Hit it 3 times, it moves up to the third mark, 4 times, and that's 12 hours, and that's as high as you can set that timer, and it's in that 4th mark right there. It just lights up. And it's cool because you can see it on both sides, and you can set the timer on both sides. So I thought that was pretty cool. But I gotta say, my favorite part about this fan is the way that you're able to just move it. It's got that gimbal design, so you can spin it all the way around, and then if you want to, you can bend it down, you can point it up. I mean, this thing is very versatile, and the motor is super quiet. I mean, I'll bring it up close to the camera. Listen, you can barely hear this thing. Now, if you want to adjust it, then you can pull this down, and you can open it all the way, and you can lock it into any place that you want to, or you can mash it down like this, and it locks into place, or you can raise it down a little bit more and move it, and then you can lock it in place. And it's got little detents where it locks in place, and so you can bend it all the way around, or you can move it all the way to 90 degrees this way. So to be able to move it side to side, up and down, and all the way around, this thing is just very, very neat. So to wire it up, you've got a bolt and nut there and a bolt and nut there, and you can hook. It's got it labeled right in there for your positive and negative. So it's very easy to hook up. And then once you get it hooked up, if you want to run your cable going out the top, you can. Or if you want to flip it down this way and have the cable going at the bottom, you can. You see it's got a notch on the bottom, and then there's a notch on the top. Just enough room for that wire to get out. So it's very versatile in the way that you can wire it up or hide those wires. Now for the mounting bracket, you see that it has this little bracket here, and they give you a piece of double-sided tape. Just put it on the back here, just like that, and you would screw this mounting plate into the piece of wood, and you've got several places to put screws. And then if I turn this bracket to the side right there, you can see that it's got notches in it, and these notches fit in all those little holes back there. You just take and fit it in there like that, and that is your mounting plate. So, you know, you can mount it on a wall and it holds just like that. If you want to pick it up and move it to another place, you can, but there's only one mounting plate, you know. And then they also give you a set of bolts to go ahead and tighten it up. So if you wanted to put a bolt here in the front for a more permanent installation, you can put a bolt right there, and then the other bolt fits in on the other side, and that way it's, you know, if you got it mounted in like a camper or something and you go down a bumpy road, this thing's not going to bounce up and off the mount. Hope all that kind of made sense. I know it's kind of hard to show you guys, but the mounting system on this thing is very strong, very easy to mount it. It's just a neat fan. Now, it's not cheap. This thing's a little over $100 for this fan, but you know, if you want something quiet, you want something that's going to last a long time, and you want something that, you know, is, you know, able to rotate and move all these different locations. Plus, it's very, very efficient. This thing will run for a long time on even just a small portable power station. So if you're worried about wattage and using the least amount possible, this is going to be probably the most efficient fan that I know of. And also, one other thing is you can see that it's got an open grill design. And you know, if you're worried about sticking your finger in there, the blades are plastic, and you know, they're not going to hurt you. I mean, I can stop the fan. Blades here on the Sirocco 2 are 7-inch blades, so they have figured out a way. These things produce a lot of air. Now we're going to talk about the Bora fan. Now, if I had to go back and choose between the two fans, I would definitely get the Sirocco 2, just because, you know, it has the timer, it has the you know, the gimbal design where you can move it all around. But if your space is your thing and you need something that's smaller and you want something a little easier to mount up, then the Bora is still a good fan. Now, I personally think the Sirocco 2 puts out more air than the Bora, but the Bora seems like it turns faster to me. But anyways, they both still use low wattage, and I got it plugged in. And the way that you turn it on is mash it there in the middle, and that is speed number 1. And let me flip the box down because I have them written down here on the bottom. This speed number 1 is 0.15 amps, which is 1.8 watts. And then speed number 2 is 0.18 amps, which is 2.16 watts. And then speed number 3, it's 0.27 amps, is 3.24 watts. So it's about the same wattage as the Sirocco. So you know, if you're looking for something that is you know, efficient, they're both very efficient fans. Now, this one here has the little thumb screw on the side where you can adjust it, and then it has this little lever where you can tighten it down. But once you loosen that up, you can adjust it front or back. Now, you can't spin it all the way around like you can the gimbal, but you know, it still moves until you lock it down over here. You lock it down right there. Now, this side over here is just kind of loosening it up or tightening it up, so you can adjust it a little easier. You know, it takes some of the tension off of it. So if you loosen it up, it's not quite as hard to move. But once you lock it down in place, it's not as tight. So if you try to lock it down and it's not tight enough for you, just loosen it and then tighten this up just a little bit, and then it's a lot more tight. So the way that you would mount the Bora fan is very, very simple. You have this little piece here, and it's got an area for you to mount a screw on either side. So you just mount a screw here, and then you take this little rubber bushing and you lay it right on top of there, and then you just set the fan right over top of it, and then you have this little, basically it's a plastic nut that fits over top of it. And let me move the fan around where it's a little easier to get to. But once you put that nut on there, you just tighten it up. And then once it's all nice and tight and mounted, then now you can adjust it all the way forward or backwards. and you can also swivel it, you know, on that mount, so it can swivel and go forwards or backwards. So yeah, it is pretty neat. Like I said, it doesn't have all the bells and whistles and the adjustability as the Sirocco 2, but it is still a great fan if you're looking for something to put something in a tight spot. This is a good fan. So if you're wondering how I did my testing and how I wired these up and all this, there's no trickery. All I did was just take a cigarette lighter plug. This was just in my junk scrap stuff, and I just mounted two little alligator clips, a positive and negative, and just clipped them onto the wires on both of those fans, and then it registered and told me how much power that they use. So, you know, obviously I wouldn't do it like this long term, but you could easily take the wiring from here and, you know, connect them to some, you know, a cigarette lighter plug and heat shrink it together. It would look like a professional setup. Anyways, I'm going to wrap this video up. Anyways, appreciate you watching, and make sure you like and subscribe my video. It really does help that algorithm. And if you're interested in either one of these fans, I will put a link for them down in the description. I am an Amazon affiliate. They do provide me with a little bit of commission just to help keep me motivated and, you know, keep me buying new products to, you know, help you guys out and show you what's good and what's bad. And also, if you're interested in the Egratech Sonic 600 portable power station, check this thing out. It is a beast. I'll link it to this video, so after this one ends, this one will pop up. So until next time, guys, see ya.